Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for stopping by. If you're new here, I am Ajuma Doku. There are so many misconceptions about being introverted, and some of these misconceptions I started believing them and slowly they started becoming my reality. Example, you know how when someone comes to you to tell you, oh, you're just too calm, you're too quiet, you do not have energy, you're not outgoing, you just do not have the strength or the energy to strive enough to become successful in life, and slowly you start believing that, and at the end of the day you just end up becoming a mediocre. You find yourself settling for less because you just believe you cannot get to a height because of how you are as a person. That was one of the things that started happening to me, not until I started growing older to become fully aware of myself. And then I got to discover introversion and extroversion are categorized based off of the different energy levels. So both personality type possess. Introverts are low in energy and extroverts are hyper. They are very high in energy. That's just what it is. People thinking it's just all there is to a person, not knowing that it's just an aspect of a person's life and does not define the entirety of a person. Some people might be in that shoe, and that's just what this video is all about. A quick backstory to how I got to find out I'm introverted. I used to have this teacher back then in school. She was not just a teacher, she was more like a mother to us, really, because she would come to class sometimes, just take her period to lecture us about life, so personality types, temperaments, and then there was this test where she was like, oh, if you tick all of these boxes, it means you are introverted. If you tick all of these boxes, it means you're an extrovert. And that was just how it started. I ticked off all of the boxes that suggest the traits of an introvert. And then I got to conclude I was introverted. I did not do any research behind that. But with time, I started seeing that I just did not fit most of the things I had ticked. And it just did not make any single sense to me till I sat down with myself and started like really reflecting on myself. And then I started digging into research to look for things, and I discovered something entirely different. Misconception number one is that introverts are boring and not funny. If boring is a term that describes an introvert, it's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm completely okay with being boring, honestly. But that's not completely true. Introverts are low in energy and might come off as boring, but at the same time, we're most comfortable or more comfortable with our inner circles. So we tend to express ourselves more when we're with our people. Leave a funny introvert in his or her inner circle and just watch him or her make them laugh. The people that are naturally funny can be funny with people in their inner circles. Being funny has nothing to do with whether you're introverted or extroverted. Misconception number two is that introverts are very quiet or always quiet and do not talk. Again, it all boils down to the environment we find ourselves and just how comfortable we are with that environment and the people around us. It also does not mean we do not voice out when necessary or when it calls for it. We do, especially when a conversation is interesting, because we're very interesting people. We're always in our heads a lot, so we comprehend a lot. We see things from different perspectives, clearly, by means of reasoning. And when we open our mouths to talk, there's a pause in the room to listen to that person who has always been quiet. This is not to debate, but take it or leave it. Introverted people are the most intelligent set of people in this world. Misconception number three is that introverts are lazy. And I just do not know what laziness has to do with being introverted or extroverted. Introverts can be lazy. Yes, in that same way, extroverts can also be lazy. It's just another thing entirely on its own. It's a challenge that needs to be dealt with. It just doesn't have anything to do with you or one being introverted or one being extroverted. It's another thing entirely on its own. But at the same time, I'm trying to understand where this is coming from, because introverts are largely low in energy, so we tend to like have alone time. It's one of the way we get to, refresh ourselves and recharge. So I think that might come off as being lazy. And also when it comes to tasks, we just do not do well in groups. Like, it has happened so many times with me. In my other level, when I was still in school, our course rep arranged for tutorial, and I remember we had issues because I just could not learn in group. It just did not make sense to me, and at the end of the day, it just felt like I was the one losing or missing out. So you see, group reading back then in school, I stopped doing group reading with people because it just never favored me. I would end up not understanding. But whenever I pick up my book alone to read by myself, I get to understand. So when it comes to tasks, we do well alone, carrying out tasks at our own pace, and we do it well and give the best results. But I think the sluggishness and just maybe dragging of feet might just make people view us as lazy. But laziness is another thing entirely. It is not tied to whether one is extroverted or introverted. Another misconception is that introverts are always unhappy and depressed. And this one is quite understandable because we are always to ourselves. But there's a very clear difference that people do not see. We trying to be alone is in isolation. I think in this case, solitude is being mistaken for isolation. It's just us wanting to be alone, to, hear ourselves clearly, hear our thoughts clearly, and just hear our minds with more clarity in order to, learn to navigate life. Because one wants to be on his own or her own does not mean the person is depressed, does not mean the person is unhappy. I feel it's just very important to understand people and understand how people work in order to be able to live with people in a way you don't get to stigmatize them at all. It's very, very important. Misconception number 5 is that introverts cannot improve and become better. There's this whole misconception about introverts not being able to, adapt in order to shoulder responsibilities to become successful. It doesn't mean you should change who you are, or you should try your best as much as possible to force yourself to fit into a particular standard, or to try to become something else that you're not. So you just have to figure out your strengths and your weaknesses as a person and just work on them in order to become better, not minding what misconceptions people have to say or people have not to say. It just does not matter. What people say should not define how you see yourself or what you think of yourself. So stop believing all of these things that they say about being introverted. They might end up becoming your reality. You might just end up becoming a mediocre, and you just don't want that to happen. You are made for more. Thank you for watching. Like if you enjoyed this video. Bye. See you in the next.